You ought to be hung. I'm against the death penalty, and yet I'd waiver on the death penalty for you.
I wanted to bring on Tony Neal, who is a producer and has a little bit to say about reality television shows and, whether they get on the air or not. Tony, I know that you're working on your own show. I want to find out about that. What do you think about reality TV, first of all?
Oh, well, Phil, the American people have voted, and they love reality shows. This is the new wave in American television. I understand you have a television deal yourself, Phil, and reality television is the kind of TV that is low in overhead, very long on audience interest, and I think the American people have voted hands down. It's their favorite kind of television, whether it's Survivor, whether it's American Idol, whether it is Joe Millionaire. Reality television has captured the imagination and thoroughly entertains Americans week in and week out, and I think saves the networks an awful lot of money. But I think what we have is a great idea that we're going to be bringing to the networks sometime next week, probably early next week.
Now, your reality television show, you say, serves the public need. I understand you wanted to do something that would bring public service to the primetime airwaves?
That is. Well, we wanted to go beyond giving away money or a record contract, and I was sitting with my partner, Dave Holtzman, one night, and we thought about doing charity work with 65 Roses, which is a foundation for cystic fibrosis, and then I had the idea to combine the best elements of public service with a primetime popularity show. So this wouldn't be with 65 Roses. This is something having to do with children who need parents.
And so was born this program. Now, the show is called Will You Be My Mommy, right?
That is correct, Phil.
All right, and the title alone sort of bespeaks a kind of an aching heart or a yearning heart.
Well, it does. There are millions of children who do not have homes in the United States, and most of them are children ages 6 through 12. It is a very tough time to adopt. But each week on our program, we hope we can find a family for a deserving child. And we're going to do that, we hope, not only in a way that is public service, but also, we think, very entertaining.
Now, how will the show work?
We have set up agreements with a variety of shelters. We have nonprofit groups who aid children who are homeless that will allow us to showcase one of their children each week. Each week, we will have 3 couples who are childless, and we will also have the child there.
Can they be any age?
Generally, these children will be around 5 or 6, and here's where we will first have the child come out in some beautiful clothing, a swimsuit, playwear, and perhaps their best Sunday clothes. So the first stage is to have the child come out so the parents can see, or the prospective parents can see, how presentable the child is. Then we have the couples vote, and they show their numbers to the audience.
All right, now the couples are vying for the child. You have 3 couples.
In a lot of ways, I would say more, Phil, that the child is vying for them, and this is a great opportunity for a child to show that he would make a great son or a great daughter, and sort of live down the reason why they might have been placed in an orphanage in the first place.
All right, what's the next stage?
Well, then you can have them doing some household chores to show the prospective parents that they're not just kids that you take to Sunday school or play ball with, but they can also be helpful around the house, that they're children who are grateful for the opportunity to be living in a home with loving parents. And so we can have them do some vacuuming and showing the children with a saw or a sponge to show that they aren't just typical kids, but they can work. And again, a great opportunity for the child to show that they're worth the investment. And I'll tell you an interesting stat, Phil. The average American child from birth to age 18 costs a little over $1 million to raise, so this is a sizable investment. And then the parents vote again, and they show their audience the numbers.
All right, speaking of numbers, I want to give our number out to our audience. Tony Neal is a television producer whose latest project is a reality TV show called Will You Be My Mommy? A orphan child or a child who's in a foster home.
These are not technically orphan children, but they are children who do not have parents, responsible parents, or no responsible legal guardian. That is correct.
All right. And you'll bring these kids out once a week to see if a couple wants to adopt them.
If a couple wants to adopt them. In other words, it's a chance for a child to make the grade to show that he or she is deserving of adoption.
All right, our number is 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. This sounds like a very emotional show. So the anticipation here is what?
Well, the anticipation, Phil, is to see whether this child will be adopted or sent back. And it is a very emotional, very compelling kind of television.
Sent back to what? To the foster home?
Sent back to their foster home, or sent back to the public agency that is handling them. Now, the final stage is the moment of truth. This is where the child gives his or her little speech. We allow the children to give a testimonial on why he or she should be adopted. And I can tell you, Phil, there's not a dry eye in the house when this happens. A lot of them tell some very interesting stories about how their lives... You should hear some of these stories, Phil, from these children about how they were burned by cigarettes.
Oh, my God.
Sexually molested, physically abused, emotionally abused, abandoned. It is absolutely fascinating, and we encourage the couples to consult among themselves while the child is telling the story. So you see, we sort of flip-flop the adoption process. Everyone wants to know, is a parent suitable for adoption? On Will You Be My Mommy, we determine, is the child suitable?
That would be hard to watch, man.
I'm telling you, Phil, again, your reaction is exactly what we want. We want people to feel that pathos for that child as he tells the story of being sexually molested or burned with a cigarette. Will you please adopt me? And then, of course, the moment of truth, the final stage, the final vote is taken, which the audience does not see. The child is brought out, and we roll out the numbers slowly, and then we tell the child with a drum roll if they're going home with one of these nice couples or going back to the shelter or to the foster home. And that, Phil, is the most powerful part of the show, because if no one wants the kid, it can be really emotional watching a child getting back into the state vehicle or the van and taken back to the orphanage or wherever he's from. And we do give them a T-shirt from the show, and which, by the way, was Dave Holtzman's idea. And I said, you are bad. You're talented, but you're bad. And of course, he said, well, why else have you been living with me for 6 years? And I couldn't argue with him. But it's a tough thing to see, and that's the emotional part of it.
Yeah, so the child is then said. So if they don't take the child said that they have to go back. They're told they have to go back.
They're told they have to go back. It is absolutely riveting television. Absolutely.
All right, our number is 1-800-449-8686. Here is Alexia on the Phil Hendry Show with Tony Neal, producer. Go ahead, Alexia.
Yes, I was calling to tell the producer that it seems like he's treating children like they're pieces of meat or like they're cattle, putting them up to show off their bodies or show how well they can clean for a family.
Well, I think it's important if a family is going to adopt a child to know what kind of a child that they're adopting.
Okay, but they're people, and people change.
Of course they are. Of course they are. No, we're not doing anything to abuse the children. We are simply saying, here is your opportunity to be adopted by a good, middle-class, affluent family that can take care of you. Show them what you've got. Show them what kind of a kid you are. And it's fun to watch these children desperately try to be adopted.
Well, that's the part. See, desperately try to be adopted, because then if the child doesn't make it, they go back to what you say is the state vehicle, and they're taken back to the orphanage.
Right, but if they live in the state agency, they're going to have some mental health issues. They're going to want to do their best and want to be adopted, but
of course. Well,
they're going to have mental health issues.
Well, you have to realize how hard it is for these children to find homes. On Will You Be My Mommy, we're giving these kids a chance to find a home, and all they have to do is give it their best. And again, we're reversing the adoption process, Alexi. It's not about the parents having to measure up. Does the child measure up? And people don't often ask that question.
So how mentally healthy is this going to be for a child who nobody picks?
I think
wants to adopt.
That it's no worse than what they... You have to keep in mind a lot of these kids have been burned with cigarettes, sexually molested. This is nothing compared to what they've been through. Nothing.
I'm a social worker who works with kids in the foster care system. I know what they've been through.
Absolutely. So you know that this is nothing compared to the things they've been through.
No, I know that this is us abusing these children over again.
You're using the wrong... This is not abuse. I got to tell you something. I think your audience, Phil, is getting the wrong idea. This is an opportunity for a child. Teaching them how to compete. Teaching them...
Well, when you say that they've been burned with cigarettes and sexually molested, that's a horror that a child would have to go through that, a horror. But then on top of that, to say, oh, and by the way, you're not good enough to be in my family.
No one is saying...
No one is saying that. We're simply saying this isn't the right time for you. Go back to the... whatever it is that you're from. And then the next week we...
Well, do the kids get another chance to be back on the show?
Who?
The kids that you had on the show?
Do we bring them back?
Yeah. Do you bring the same kid back?
No, we don't bring them back, Phil, because the audience wants to see something new. And
because mentally it's unhealthy for these children.
No, I would disagree with that. We have staff psychologists who work with us.
You have psychologists on staff?
We have consulted with psychologists, yes.
Are there psychologists there for the children?
While we're filming?
Yes.
Oh, no, but we consulted with them, and they said it was fine.
All right, Alexia, thank you for your call. 1-800-449-8686. I'm talking to Tony Neal, television producer with a new reality show coming out called Will You Be My Mommy? It is a show where children who are orphans or in foster care go in front of three couples who are childless and basically make a pitch. Will you please adopt me? They are shown vacuuming the floor. They're shown in various kinds of different little Sunday school suits. They then, at the end of the show, make an emotional pitch on why they would like to be adopted by those people. I'm having a hard time with this only because, as Tony said, these children come from the most horrible situations where they've been physically and emotionally abused, and now to put them through this, I've got some misgivings. Our number is 1-800, and I've known Tony Neal for 4 or 5 years, and he seems to be okay. And you know him, Janice. He's never given us any reason to think that he's sadistic. 1-800-449-8686. The Phil Hendry Show.
The Phil Hendry Show. 1-800-449-8686. He's still Jenny on the block. Phil Hendry Show. 1-800-449-8686.
We're talking about reality TV with Tony Neal, a producer here in Los Angeles, who has got a program called Will You Be My Mommy? This is a reality TV show that puts orphan children or children in foster care together with couples that are childless. Tony, you mentioned that the children are never heard from again. In other words, not if they lose, if they are not adopted by the couple and they have to go back to their orphanage, they're never seen again? You don't give them another chance?
Well, Phil, we've asked a couple of our associate producers, and we're also talking to Milton Dean, who owns the company that's producing our program. The idea, if we do bring back some of these children, for instance, if they are not adopted by a regular couple, we'll bring the children back for another go at it with gay couples, for instance. And we have life partners who are lesbians, we have life partners who are gay men, and they, of course, would like to adopt children. And so we do give them another opportunity, but it's not as if they're being adopted by a real family. It's a gay couple, and it has its own challenges. So what we're saying is this. You were not adopted the first time out, so you didn't win that round, but you can come back for a consolation round, but the couples are all homosexual. And I think it gives the child an opportunity to be in a family, but it's not really a normal family.
Well, I mean, you're talking about that's Jesus. I mean, you're going to have some gay activists up in arms.
Well, I don't mean to upset the. What I'm saying is, it's not a heterosexual couple.
All right, 1-800-449. But the kid gets to come back, but he's adopted by a gay couple.
As his second go round, as the consolation round, yes.
1-800-449-8686. What do you think about this show, Will You Be My Mommy, where orphan children compete and try to get adopted by people? Paula, it's Paula, right?
Yes.
Yes, Paula, go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendry Show.
I think they're exploiting children, and I think they should all be thrown in jail.
You're talking about me, ma'am? This is Tony Neal. How are you? Yes.
I think that putting these children in this type of position,
we're giving these children
where they are out on display, and if they don't cut the mustard, then they're put in their little van and they're taken back from whence they came.
No, we are giving these children a chance at a home, and
you are giving yourself a chance at big bucks.
And when
you are exploiting children.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Oh, you are too.
I think you misunderstand the meaning of this program. It's to
No, I think you are there for the big bucks. You are not there for the children. You are not there for the parents.
I don't see anything
You
wrong,
are
Paula.
there to make money.
Paula,
When's the last time you spent any time?
Every job that everyone has is to make money, but it's also
not
to do
to
some good.
Exploit
It's also
children.
To do some good. I'm not exploiting children. I'm giving them a home.
You are exploiting
Well, let me
children
jump in.
the worst possible
If
way.
the kids don't make it one time, they come back.
They can come back and be adopted by gays.
Oh, yeah. So, look, if you don't make it the first time, let's see if you can toil it out the second time. You are exploiting
We're giving these children another
to make money. You should be put in jail.
We are giving
you are
children,
as bad
Paula,
as the
you're the
people
kind of person that loves to see
burned
children
them,
without
that
home.
molested them, that did all the horrible things to them.
Rather see children
you
homeless.
are another person
you would be the
that
kind
is
of woman
doing the
who
horrible
probably
things
threw your
to
own
them.
children out into the street because you couldn't deal with them. We deal with the children. We help them find a home. And, ma'am, wouldn't you rather see these kids show their dancing or vacuuming skills than rot in a foster home getting cigarette burns? You can't
is that what you're saying? Are you saying all the foster homes are giving them cigarette burns?
You can't answer that, can you?
Given the choice. Are you saying that they are giving them cigarette burns? Then there's something wrong with our government that is putting them there,
So what are you doing
and they should be put in a safe place.
What are you doing about it?
You are exploiting children for money.
You're doing nothing about it. I'm helping them, even if they're adopted by gays.
All right.
What's wrong with gays?
Oh, you mean you like somebody? I thought you hated children.
No. I hate you for exploiting children.
You hate children. And
I hate you for exploiting children.
You hate children.
I have two of my own children. I have had many foster children.
All right,
and I have never burnt them.
Can I ask you a question? How many cigarettes have you butted on a kid's rear end? Just in a ballpark.
Well, that's the most. That is the.
How many cigarettes have you butted out on a kid's rear end?
That is the most inflammatory.
I have never butted anything out. These kids still come to my house.
How many cigars?
All right. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about you're exploiting kids, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to make these children into something that is put on display.
Phil, I said to you at the beginning that this program combined the very best aspects of public service and commercial entertainment. I said that at the beginning. And there is nothing exploitive about children being adopted. Also, there's nothing exploitive about children being adopted for the entertainment of people.
And for the entertainment of people, I'd have my heart in my throat. My heart would be in my throat. Or my throat would be in my heart. But I would feel bad for these kids.
You'd feel bad when a child is adopted?
Yeah, I would.
Why?
Because any couple that would adopt a kid in a format like that, I don't even know what they got planned for the kid. Are they going to make him work around the house? Are they going to...
Phil, you've got the wrong idea. These are children who are going to be treated beautifully. And they're going to whether they're adopted by the gay, whether they win the consolation round, which is the homosexuals, or whether they win round A, which is a heterosexual couple. They're treated well.
Here's Kobe on the Phil Hendry Show. Go ahead.
Man, you've got to tell me this is a joke. Please tell me this is a joke.
So we've got a program that we think combines the very best aspects of public service with commercial television. And if you think children being adopted is a joke, then I suppose it's a joke.
No, I don't think children being adopted is a joke.
If you think children being adopted and put into a decent home is a joke, then I suppose...
Not at all. Not at all. And I promise you, I won't talk over you like the previous caller.
Well, that's what you're inferring.
No. What I'm saying is, and you don't know my background, I was adopted. My children were adopted. I adopted my children.
Are you able to have children?
All my siblings have been adopted.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, I don't get that. Aren't you able to have children?
Well, that's beside the point. The point is that adoption is good.
Why wouldn't you have a real kid?
When you put kids that have had trauma in their life, like being rejected by parents, being sexually abused,
why wouldn't you have a real kid
you love the cigarette example.
Right, exactly. We don't do that.
Well, of course not. Hopefully not. But we should be using that example. What?
That's what. Well, adopted children, as you know, are not loved as much as real children, but at least they're loved.
Well, adopted children.
All right, hold on. 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. The show is called "Will You Be My Mommy?" We'll be back. Phil Hendry Show.
One 800-449-8686. The Phil Hendry Show is back.
Tony Neal is the producer of a show called Reality TV. And a producer of a show called Will You Be My Mommy? It's a reality TV show where the children get up and they... it seems like they're having... You say that children try to prove that they're good enough to be adopted as opposed to what happens in society that the parents have to prove that they're good enough to adopt a child.
That is correct, Phil, but I think it's a lot less exploitive than what you think. The children are allowed to show what they've got. For the first time in their lives, they're not beaten into submission, they're not burned with a cigarette, they're allowed to show who they are. And a lot of times the couples, for instance, can request, will the child dance for us? Or can the child sing a song for us? Will the child...
Oh, come on.
No, Phil, this is very...
Oh, come on, dance for us.
Phil, there are children talent shows, there are...
Yeah, John Benet Ramsey.
Phil, this has nothing to do with John Benet Ramsey. That is absolutely uncalled for. This is about a child.
So, in other words, I'm one of the husband of the couple. You know, not really decided on this kid. Have him tap dance for me.
It's Star Search with a better prize, Phil. That's what it is. It's Star Search with a better prize. It's Star Search where you win a family. You don't win a convection oven. You don't win a car. When we get into the sweeps, I'm going to tell you something, Phil. I've been a producer in this town for 20 years. The reason why I've survived is I know how to grab an audience. Sweeps month is coming up in May. And once the child gets chosen by the adoptive parents and wins, we bring out the child's real mother, and then the child gets to choose, which is how do you like that? So,
wait a minute. So now the couple adopts him. Now the real mother comes out, and what do? You tell the kid?
We tell the child, here's your real mommy. Wouldn't you rather be with her? Then it really gets interesting.
It's confusing.
Phil, believe me, there's not a dry eye in the house.
1-800-449-8686. Patrick, go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendry Show.
Are you talking to Pat?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I just want to say that I'm a retired Roman Catholic priest.
Why are you retired?
I'm 79 years of age, and I want to tell you, I'm in Denver, and I want to tell you that you are lower than selling pornography on television. Pornographers are at least honest to what they're selling, but you ought to be hung. I'm against the death penalty, and yet I'd waiver on the death penalty for you.
Well,
this is the lowest I've ever heard on television.
Well, I understand, but isn't it kind of like the pot calling the kettle black?
Oh, it is not like the pot calling the kettle black.
With that whole Catholic priest thing. Now, come on.
What are you talking about?
Well, you know what I'm talking about. What, are you shopping to adopt a boy for yourself?
Oh, now, come on. Wait a second.
Now, you know what I'm talking about. This guy's a priest.
Hold on for a minute.
You see, Phil, this is exactly why I said what I said. This is the lowest form I've ever heard of.
We are giving a child. Listen, we're giving a child.
Oh, you're not giving a child anything. You're exploiting a child. You're exploiting a child. You're not giving that child anything.
Exploiting a child. How are we exploiting?
And then you're bringing out the mother and having the child choose between this couple and the mother.
It's fantastic.
God, if this isn't the most.
It's great television.
This is the most pathetic I've ever heard in my life.
It's the greatest television
you could watch. Phil. I'm tired of this.
It's the greatest television you could watch, Father, all right?
No, it's not.
It beats cruising for altar boys on a Friday night.
This is as sickening as I've ever heard of.
It's a program.
I've heard of a lot of things, but I don't know of anything more sickening than this.
How about giving a altar boy oral sex?
All right, enough of that.
Boy, this is beautiful. This is the type of guy who, with the mouth and the mind he's got. He's the type that's going to do something for children.
Father.
He's the type that's going to exploit children until he gets the last dollar. That's all.
Father, would you stay on the line because I have another Roman Catholic priest. This Father McQuarters.
Okay.
Father McQuarters, you there?
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
Well, I was listening to a program and I heard this man, and I thought I was doing all right until I heard this man, who I think I agree with the Father that this is the worst kind of almost like auctioning a slave. It's almost as if we're back in the slave times.
Well, Father, both of you are Roman Catholic priests. I don't think you have a leg to stand on.
And what's that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean, sir?
You know what it means. We had this whole sex thing.
Wait a minute. You're not indicting these men. These men just because they're priests?
You guys can't say anything because listen, what you guys have been up to?
I haven't been up to anything. And I think...
Neither have I, and
I think what you're saying is a blasphemy. And I think what you're saying is a slander, and I think you should be investigated by the authorities.
I do too, Father.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you something else. If I were there, right now, where you are, Mr. Neal, I believe in Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of our Lord, and I believe essentially in the word to turn the other cheek. But I would take my knee and drive your gonads so...
Come on now, both of you guys.
I swear to God, this guy has pissed me off so much.
Get a load of this guy.
You've made these people angry, and you've indicted both of these men as being molesting priests because you got a show that exploits children.
I'm taking they tap dance to get a home. What's wrong with that?
They tap dance to get a home.
You make a child tap dance.
They're braided out in a bathing suit too, aren't they?
Well, I'm sure that'd be something that'd gun your engine, wouldn't it?
Oh, man, you guys are really something else.
You're about as foul as I've ever heard in my life.
Father, you're absolutely... You know something, Mr. Neal? I don't know where you work, but I'm going to call the office you work at tomorrow, and the network that picks up your program, I can assure you we will have a boycott, advertiser boycott, the likes of which you've never seen.
Oh, they tried to boycott me with Married with Children. It didn't work.
So you did Married with Children. That was a piece of vulgar garbage as well. And if I were where you are right now, I would take your face and rake it across a picket fence. What do you think of that?
And I join you.
There you go. Because there's a time when, as our Lord threw the money changers out of the temple, there's a time for righteous anger.
Well, I can't say as I blame you, gentlemen. I think that.
Wait. You're taking the side of these two poobahs? These two guys that are chicken hawks? What do you think?
What do you mean, chicken hawk?
Oh, I know what he means. He says we're out cruising for boys. You know what I'm going to do with you? I'm going to call the company you work for, and I will assure them that the entire Archdiocese of Los Angeles, California, will be up in arms when your program is on the air. You piece of walking excrement.
That's a good description, Father.
Father, you know what I think? I think the Lord rested on the seventh day, and I think he squatted to take a dump, and this guy came out.
Thank you, Father. Thank you.
If I saw you in a dark alley, I'd grab a pair of chain cutters and I would remove whatever little manhood you've got. Goodbye.
Good Lord.
Okay, goodbye.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
You can all go to hell. Remember, Wednesday nights at 9.
On the seventh day, the Lord rested. I have to admit, I took that line from Gangs of New York. All right, anyway, that was me doing the voice of Father McQuarters and of Tony Neal's The Phil Hendry Show.
The Phil Hendry Show, 1-800-449-8686. Whitney Houston's dealer.